Disrespect is not an accident, it is a test. Not of intelligence, not of physical strength, not even of confidence. It is a test of control. When someone disrespects you, they are not merely speaking words. They are attempting to pull you out of balance. They want a reaction, any reaction, because reaction gives them power. They want anger, defensiveness, embarrassment, justification. All of it feeds the provocation. Stoicism offers a radically different response, a response that denies access, a response that keeps your power exactly where it belongs. Before we dive in, let me share with you a personal story about how it once worked out for me. I worked the morning shift at a small repair shop where the bell over the door rang more often than it should have. Among the regular customers was a man who seemed to feed on small acts of disrespect. He spoke over me, criticized my work without understanding it, and smirked as if daring me to respond. Each time I felt the familiar heat rise in my chest, but I said nothing. At first I believed silence was weakness, yet I had been studying the Stoics in the evenings, reading about control, not over others but over oneself. You always own your response, the words echoed in my mind. So when the man scoffed or mocked, I did not shrink, nor did I lash out. I simply paused, lifted my eyes, and looked at him. The stare was calm, steady, unarmed by words. No anger, no apology, just presence. One afternoon, that man made another cutting remark and waited, clearly expecting a reaction. I met his gaze and held it. Seconds stretched. The shop grew quiet. The hum of fluorescent lights suddenly loud. Something shifted. The man's smile faltered. He shifted his weight, cleared his throat, and looked away. From that day on, he spoke less. His comments softened, then faded altogether. He stood a little farther back at the counter. I returned to my work, unchanged on the surface. But inside, I understood something new. Strength was not in dominating another man, but in mastering myself. And sometimes the most powerful answer was silence, held firmly without fear. 1. Disrespect is not an event. It is an interpretation. When someone insults you, nothing truly happens. Sound travels through the air. Vocal cords vibrate. Molecules move. That is all. The injury does not exist in the words themselves. It is created in the mind of the listener. Epictetus explained this centuries ago. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. The moment you label words as disrespect, they gain weight. The moment you attach meaning, ego, or identity to them, they become painful. But if you remove interpretation, if you refuse to assign meaning, the insult collapses under its own emptiness. A Stoic understands this. No one can insult your character unless you invite the judgment inside. 2. Control is internal or it is nothing. Stoicism begins with one fundamental division. There are only two categories in life: what is within your control and what is not. Other people's words will never be in the first category. You cannot control their tone, their motives, their emotional state, but you always control your response. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The moment you react emotionally, control has already shifted away from you. The calm person holds the advantage. The reactive person has already surrendered it. 3. Silence is a decision. Most people speak impulsively, not because they have something meaningful to say, but because silence feels uncomfortable. They speak to discharge tension, to protect ego, to soothe insecurity. The Stoic remains silent for a different reason. Silence preserves clarity. It is not confusion, not weakness, not submission. Silence is restraint. It communicates one powerful message without a single word. Nothing here requires my energy. 4. The silent stare. The Stoic does not glare, does not smirk, does not tense. There is no challenge, no hostility, no threat, only presence. The silent stare does not escalate the situation. It withdraws from it. When provocation receives no emotional reward, it begins to starve. The discomfort transfers. The one who expected dominance now feels exposed. The one who sought control now confronts their own behavior. Silence shifts the balance without confrontation. 5. No explanations are required. Disrespect invites justification. It tempts you to explain, to defend, to prove your worth. Stoicism refuses the invitation. You owe no defense to someone acting without discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, I can choose not to be harmed, and I haven't been. Silence is not avoidance. It is sovereignty. The need to explain comes from insecurity. The absence of explanation signals self-mastery. 6. Disrespect reveals the speaker. Disrespect does not define you. It exposes the other person. People lash out when they are internally disordered, when they feel powerless, when they lack discipline. Disrespect often comes from insecurity, frustration, and unresolved anger. The Stoic does not absorb what does not belong to them. Instead of reacting, they observe. Observation replaces emotion. Understanding replaces offense. And with understanding comes freedom. 7. Words are used only when necessary. To a Stoic, speech is a tool, not a reflex. Most words are unnecessary. Most explanations dilute authority. Most arguments strengthen nothing. When words are used, they are few, measured, calm, final. No emotional charge, no dramatic expansion. Often silence communicates more than speech ever could. 8. Walking away without a word. Sometimes silence is not enough. The final boundary is distance. No argument, no explanation, no attempt at closure, just movement. Walking away without a word sends a message that cannot be misinterpreted. This does not deserve my time. Nothing unsettles provocation more than indifference. The energy stays intact. The dignity remains untouched. 9. Disrespect is training. The Stoic does not curse discomfort, they use it. Every act of disrespect is practice. Practice for discipline. Practice for detachment. Practice for control. Epictetus said, difficulties show what men are. Resistance strengthens the mind the way weight strengthens muscle. Each provocation is an opportunity to train restraint. Each silence is a repetition. Each calm response builds mastery. 10. Reputation is not the objective. Some people will misunderstand silence. They may call it weakness. They may mistake restraint for fear. That is irrelevant. Marcus Aurelius wrote, do what is right. Let the rest go. Peace does not require validation. It does not require approval. It requires alignment with your principles. Conclusion. Disrespect will happen. Noise will come. Provocation will knock. The Stoic response is not louder. It is quieter. No reaction, no explanation, no surrender. And when necessary, you walk away. That is not weakness. That is control. If you have learned something valuable from today's Stoic lesson, like and subscribe to continue along the path of your life-changing Stoic journey. Thank you.